let's bring Ron Slay back. I think we got Ron.
There
Ron,
we go, man. I've been sabotaged. It's got to be somebody in Kentucky that's taking over my network, man. I know what it is. Man, send one of these darn creepy cats down here or something, man. It's probably on the roof messing with my wires, man. Killing
that's
me.
okay. Trust me, we've had a tree fall in the house, knock out Wi-Fi and power when we had Ben Joyce on. So
Golly.
yeah, so we're working through it.
Oh, we all right then.
Yeah, this is nothing. All right, so Ron, again, you were giving us your thoughts on Kentucky. Some people think it's a top 20 or so team. What do you think?
Yeah. I think coming into the season, man, with all the hype that they were giving Will Levis, they kind of went away in a sense from what got them those wins in the past 2 years and what made them who they were. You could always expect this to be a physical team up front in the trenches. And you have a guy like Rodriguez to depend on, who is a monster back there in the backfield. Like that dude he need to hurry up and go to the NFL, man, get away from SEC football. But he's a problem. But coming into the season, you start hearing all the hype. Number one player taken, number one quarterback taken with Will Levis. So it's like Rodriguez is sitting out, so you put the ball in his hands to try to get it going. And offensive line is just not blocking. You're just not getting the same protection at all. So if you can't, I said it before, I'm a trench lover. So if you can't get the guys up front to block for you or keep the pressure off of you, it's going to be difficult, man. So now you got to go back and be, with Rodriguez coming back, be a team that's going to run the ball, control the time, how you're going to do it. Talk about this NFL offense. You got guys out there on the boundaries. You got Smoke Cavassier in the backfield as well. Like, you got a lot of weapons, but how do you get it to him if you can't control the line of scrimmage? This man's been hit 20 times, and that's not even counting the pressures or anything. So I think they gotta figure things out, and I think it's just trying to plug holes while going through the season. And at this point, you're getting down to the nitty gritty. The back end of their schedule is hectic. So this is the time to try to figure things out, and they've been kind of left with that.
Yeah, I think this Tennessee defense is probably going to have a really good day. And I know people are worried about the secondary. How do you think that's going to play out? I mean, I don't see Will Levis being able to really throw the ball if he stays in the game longer than 2 quarters, just because the defensive line is so strong. Right. I think they'll get to him. But how do you see it playing out?
I look at this defensive line and what Roddy Gardner has done with them, and also the development with the guys behind the front four. I think that's the depth that we've got over the past 4 or 5 games with Roman Harrison and these guys coming in to play. Like, you're able to give Byron Young and Tyler Barron rest, and then have guys and not have a drop off. So it's like, whoa, we can rush 4, and occasionally, you got Tim Banks and them throwing in a blitz here and there. So if you're keeping them off kilter back there, I think this team does good when you're able to just rush 4, and then you bring in the star guy, Wesley Walker or somebody, and send him on the blitz, and it's unaccounted for. So that's a problem. And I think that rushes guys along, and I think that helps the secondary. Anytime you can get a good rush, it goes hand in hand with the good secondary being able to cover, because the ball got to come out quick. The only thing that scares me is if they were able to time that blitz up with a guy like Robinson or Barry and Brown. For Lord's sake, man, anytime he catches it, this young man can go. So hopefully you're able to tackle in space. That would be the biggest thing. I'm not really worried about getting burnt over the top. I don't think that offensive line can protect that long, especially what I think a lot of people are forgetting about. Last year's game was in Lexington. This game is in Neyland, and the mystique to Neyland is back, which creates a problem for teams like a Kentucky, who went down to the Swamp earlier, and the Swamp is a great atmosphere. And that was early in the season when they were expected to win. Now you're coming into a team that's number 3 in the nation, that's had Alabama come in. You had other teams come in and really go away with it. It's deafening. And they cannot predict it because none of this generation has seen it. They don't know nothing about that. They just know about going in the locker room and, hey, man, let's get out there and go warm up. Now you're coming in and you're looking up. You're like, oh, man, look at Neyland, man. Look at these lights and look at these banners and jumbo. It's different. You captivated, and by that time you're down 10-0.
Yeah, or 24-0. Pretty
Yeah,
quick.
we'll take all that.
Yeah. So, Ron, I'm curious what Nashville's like, and Ron's on 104.5 The Zone, and he does an absolutely fantastic job with Brent Doherty. And Ron, do you need to take that call?
Nah, that's just facts, man. We ain't got no house phone. Like that's the craziest thing.
Well,
like,
why do you have a fax?
It never rings. It never rings. Like it's crazy.
It's the Kentucky people.
That's all it is. Kentucky. Yeah. Keep that tea out this week.
Yeah. So Kentucky. Okay. So Ron, I actually am able to look at my analytics for what we do, both the website and the YouTube channel. And it's funny, our number one market, part of it's because Knoxville is so saturated with coverage, is actually Nashville. So I'm curious, you're in the mid-state area. What is, and that's a Titans town, I would think, going into the season. But how do you, as far as the interest level, how would you say the fan base is in terms of UT versus Tennessee Titans?
Hey, man, listen, the thing with the Titans, not only do you have the Titans in the NFL market, you got the shield, the NFL shield behind them. So it creates its own buzz. I'm telling people here earlier this year, we were in a sales meeting, me and Ramon Foster, and we went down to talk to the sales team, and I'm trying to explain to them, like, hey, man, the Titans is it. I'm telling you. But y'all have not seen anything until you seen them win on Rocky Top. Now, if you think the Titans dominate this market, just wait till they win. And they put a winning product out. And now you start to see it. Like, me, and I could be biased. I would say, man, it's probably 55-45 balls.
Wow.
And that's tough to say, especially with Nashville being a melting pot. Like, you got all types of NFL teams here as far as fans go, and then the same thing goes as SEC because it being a city and people wanting to move back here and get work. So I still think, man, it's pretty strong, especially when winning. Now, if this would have been 2-3 years ago, I would have probably said, man, it's about 35%. We didn't grab a couple of bandwagon guys and jump them on. We accepted them for a little while. They got to sit in the back of the train, but they on now. We may kick them off at any minute, but it's all good, man. It's lovely right now. You see orange everywhere.
But it's palpable. You feel it on the show for sure.
Yeah, without question. Especially after a win against Alabama, and then what's on the horizon with a team like Georgia. If everybody take care of their business, they take care of Florida, and we take care of Kentucky. I think you walk into this situation and you know what to expect, number one versus number three, and that's big time. And I think you see it. Popular may not even be the right word for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm from Nashville, so my entire family lives in Nashville. And I remember back in the day when Tennessee was good, there was orange everywhere.
Yeah,
and there was orange everywhere, and I think it's still the same way, especially now that Tennessee is on top again. I hear it from all sides there. Like my entire family, they were watching. We were at my aunt's 60th birthday party or something, and my cousins had the Tennessee game on their phone because we were out in the middle of nowhere, like Bon Aqua, Tennessee, and they had the Tennessee game on their phone, just listening. It was Tennessee Pitt. I remember that. But everybody's on that bandwagon. I totally agree with you on that one. I see a lot of Predators in Nashville. That place goes nuts for hockey, and I never thought I would see that in my entire life, because it's pretty crazy that everyone just loves the NHL, because they did not when I was growing up. They
Same here.
Did not.
Same here.
They did not. So what do you think the reaction is to this Tennessee team being so good this season?
I think it's, we talked about it last week on BVS, Battlefield Syndrome. I think you're starting to see a turn in spirit, a turn in belief, a turn in hope, and starting to kind of grasp to that instead of grasping to, man, at some point it's gonna slip up, everything gonna go haywire. Instead of that, it's like, oh man, just give us one more shot. Is it any more time on the clock? You know, you start to get that belief and the hope, and you start to expect to win, which is it's tremendous, man. So I think if you take that and you go with it, the sky's the limit. I love this team being good, and I think you get teams you kind of get to pile on when you get comments that Kentucky is a basketball school. You know, there's something for us to latch on to. Then you get Coach Saban with the Burton deal, and you know, it's something else for us to latch on to. And we're like, oh man, it is Tennessee. You know, the pride and everything is back. Like people really, like you said, waving their colors and they're choosing. You know, and the good thing is, it's a line drawn in the sand. It's either you hate them or you love them. It ain't no middle land or gray area anymore. It's sides chosen, and I like it like this. I'll accept this all day long. So just let us know what it is.
Ron, let's go back to your recruitment. I know the story of Kentucky and how involved they were, but for those that don't know, why did you choose Tennessee? And obviously you're from the Nashville area, but Kentucky, how hard did they come calling? Kind of give some that don't know a little bit of background.
Well, man, I'm right here in Nashville. We had a great by the name of Ron Mercer, and he went to the University of Kentucky, so he turned the lights on immediately for me. Seeing them go up there and compete, win national championships and things of that nature. But then that was 95, 96, you know, in 97. And I also was able to see what was going on at University of Tennessee with football being so dominant. A lot of my teammates, John Henderson, Reggie Ridley, Buck Fitzgerald, were going to University of Tennessee in football. Now, I played football in high school, so my relationship with them, this was when people were playing 2 or 3 sports in high school. So my relationship with them was like brothers. So I was in the gym one day playing basketball. Coach Cut came in. He was going to recruit John, and I was just in that hoop, and I saw him stop and talk with Coach Fitzgerald for a second. And I'm at this time like a sophomore. I ain't got a clue who it is. I just know, man, it's a white guy. He look important. He talking to Coach Fitzgerald. Let me go on the show out real quick. So, you know, I'm in that dunking, boom, boom, boom. So he meet me. Next thing I know, he goes back and tell Coach O'Neal and them guys and Coach Ferguson, hey, man, this kid down there, y'all need to recruit. So if y'all don't, I'm going to try to go recruit him. So that's how I got on the radar with him. Ended up going to Oak Hill Academy. I verbally committed to University of Tennessee after what they were putting out. Tony Harris being a McDonald's All-American, Charles Hathaway, McDonald's All-American, Vincent Yarbrough, #1 player of McDonald's All-American. So it was doing something good, starting to go to tournaments. So the basketball was on the scene. I get to Oak Hill Academy, and I verbally committed before getting there. In the fall, we're doing practices, and coaches are able to come in. Gary Williams from Maryland, Pete Gillen from Virginia, Tubby Smith, fresh off a national championship, coming up to see the guys. And no Tennessee guys were coming. So I was like, I told Coach Smith, I said, hey, Coach, I mean, why ain't no coaches came up here to see me yet? You know, I want to get my back rubbed a little bit too, you know, pacify me a little bit. So I tell Coach Smith, hey, man, I want to open my recruiting back up. And I liked what Tubby was doing. Cliff Hawkins, I knew Mercer. Cliff Hawkins was our point guard. He was a junior there. He committed to University of Kentucky. Jules Kamara was already there. He had went to Oak Hill Academy. So I had a connection with him. So I go in this Coach Smith's office, tell him that. He said, no, Slate Hawk. In this voice, Slate Hawk, you can't do it. You got no Slate Hawk. I'm like, Coach, for real, man. Everybody else done came up here. He's like, just go back and sleep on it, man. Sleep on it. So I go back to the dorm, get up next morning. Man, Coach Green, Coach Ferg, everybody came up the next 3 days. I was like, all right, I'm going to keep my commitment. But I was about to turn, man. I was on my way to Kentucky. There wasn't no question about it.
Wow.
Oh, no. Well, I don't blame you.
I was like, man, there's too much love being shown, and I ain't getting none. No.
No, I don't blame you. One of the things I draw from that at the beginning of what you said is it was really football that drew you in initially.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting to play another sport, but it was football that drew you in. Was the excitement around the program? Was it just the relationships you had, or both?
It was everything that was going on in the program. Like I came on my unofficial visit, the Florida game in '98.
Oh, that was a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, until that Alabama game, I don't think it was anything that could top that. So, man, I was there in the stands when they rushed the field, took the goalpost down. I was about to jump over the wall. Coach Smith grabbed me by my shirt collar and said, "Don't you do that." So we went on back, and on that ride back, man, I told Coach Smith, I said, "Man, you can call them tomorrow and tell them I'm signing. Like it's a done deal. Like that atmosphere is what I'm all about." And I came from a situation at Pearl Cone where football and basketball were as one, so I could only imagine what was going on up there at University of Tennessee, not being a student there. You had the Lady Vols winning national championships, football team won national championships, basketball is going to the tournament year in and year out. So I'm like, this is it. This is it. So that was pretty special, man. And I always told guys like Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield and those guys, like even this bunch today, Josiah Jordan James, y'all ain't seen Knoxville, man. And y'all can win. Elite Eights, Final Fours, whatever it is. You combine that with football winning, you'll never go home in the summer. You'll go to many terms, every summer session, like you would never go home. The city is amazing. And so I got to experience that. And that did it for me. That did it.
My mom actually went to Pearl Cone, but she went to Pearl Cone when it was Pearl and Cone, and then she went when it became Pearl Cone. Hey. So that was, she's a Pearl Cone alum.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. So we talked about Hendon Hooker. We've talked about him thoroughly and what he can do and all of that. When it comes to the Wildcats, because I won't say Kentucky, but when it comes to the Wildcats, how do you think he's going to be able to carve up this defense?
One, I think. So I'm a trench lover, and I love both sides. I've was roommates with John Henderson, so I looked at the game from a different lens. When I came on my official visit, I went with John Henderson and Big Cat. Instead of, they put me with Charles Hathaway and CJ Black, and I was with them, and I told them, "Hey man, I'm about to go over here, man." So I hung with them. So I see it from the defensive line, and then one thing that's overlooked is this offensive line. Things that they're doing, from Garvin to Mincy going out, and another guy coming in, like it is amazing the protection they have. They understand the prize that they have back behind them, and they're protecting them. And he understands up front, outside of the safety blitz against LSU when they got blown up, everything else has been pretty much good. So when you say carving them up, he's going to sit there and have time and not go through like last year, one option, two option, take off and run. Now it's one option, two option, come back to the first option. Is a tight end open, running back, now I'm going to go. He got all day. So carving them up is the exact word for him. Like we can't get close enough to Thanksgiving to carve that turkey, was exactly what he's going to do to these kitty cats. But I'm just saying, I expect some really good things. And I think another thing with it is we ain't even seen the best of hypo yet. Oh, yeah. I thought LSU, the underneath shovel pass to Princeton Fant was enough to blow my mind to get that first down on fourth down. I'm like, whoa. But then to audible out on the goal line against Alabama and go to an I formation and put him at fullback and let him run. Then another wrinkle, get to UT Martin, and now you're throwing passes with Fant. Like, I don't know what hypo along with Hooker is going to do. I don't know what's going on in practice. But the confidence is supreme and superior to everything else. So that offensive line going to protect them, and they better choose wisely. Kentucky better choose wisely, and they better not. If it ain't two safeties over the top, somebody's in trouble.
Ron, last thing, I know you got to run because we'll transition over the course of the next few weeks into basketball. Ron's going to join us each and every weekday at 9 Eastern time on Wednesday, I should say. But Ron, this Tennessee basketball team, we all know the Sakai's of the world, Santiago's of the world, Josiah Jordan James, who we might be working with shortly, might have an announcement on that.
Hey, get Joe James in there.
We're working on that. So, but who are we not talking about that you're hearing good things about? Because I know you're still really tied in.
I would say initially Tariq Key. I think he would be the guy that jumps off initially when you talk about a guy coming in that averaged double figures for his career, coming in being able to shoot the ball, stretch the floor. And I think the surprising thing would be he's not just a shooter. Like the man can play. You can give him the ball, go one-on-one. He can post up. And being a guard, that gives you a different dynamic because him and Josiah Jordan James on the court at the same time, if you put Josiah at the 4, him at the 2, Zakai at the 1, you mix in Phillips and Meshack and guys like that with Olivier down low, it's just crazy what can happen. But the depth, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people. Another guy's Meshack. I think Meshack last year gave him a lot of spurts off the bench, and he couldn't stay on the floor because of his offensive ability. Him being able to really work on this game in the offseason, being able to score the way he is, allows him to stay on the floor longer. And this is saying, of course, we can always, like you said, point at guys like Zakai. I think he's going to take a different step. Julian Phillips, we expect him to be in and out of there. Josiah, Olivier taking steps, Euros. But Meshack would be the guy that I think you can kind of put your finger on and say he's going to be the guy. And then I also believe Olivier. I got to give some love to guys that get down there in the paint and work. Olivier is going to be a guy that I think that takes the next step. And I could see Olivier going on and averaging at least 17 and 10, 17 and 8. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty tough to do on a team where you got a 9 to 10 man rotation, and the way you play defense and you don't save anything. You got to get out there and guard. So 17 and 8 a game is pretty impressive, and I think you can get that done.
Ron Slay of 104.5 The Zone there in Nashville. And Ron, you've officially arrived because the dating websites are now posting on our message board, which means you are taking off.
There go my people. That's what I'm talking about, man. Listen, hey, they just looking for a little after hour fun. Don't y'all pay no attention to them, man. We ain't messing with them right now.
You didn't even mention the Boom Boom Room, so they're just coming out.
I'm trying to figure out what happened. Somebody must have been passing out flyers while we were in here putting flyers on the cars and stuff. So I guess that's what it is.
We can always tell when our listenership gets high because we get the swipe left, swipe right crowd.
Yeah.
And so Ron, you're big time now. So go ahead and tell Brent now you're huge and that you can handle the show all by yourself, and you don't need anything else because this is you're national now.
Ain't no doubt, man. Hey, man, a salute to everybody in the chat too, man. I'm seeing them on there. I'm seeing the Kentucky love in there. You know what I'm saying? I see them asking about, I got Antonio Beard, rest in peace, man. But hey, it's beautiful, man. This is what I'm talking about. We're gonna keep building.
We appreciate you, Ron. Take care, buddy.
All right, y'all.
Yeah,